Welcome to the Lean Lounge, a podcast brought to you by Lean Revisions. Please welcome your host, Jeff Gray.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lean Lounge. My name's Jeff Gray, your host here at the Lean Lounge. And as you know, at the Lean Lounge, we talk about everything under the Lean Operations umbrella. How to optimize your operations, how to engage your workforce, how to take these lean concepts and build them into the way you operate. And so if you've been listening to our podcast on Apple and Spotify and Sirius and iHeart, etc., YouTube channel, you know we like to bring a lot of folks together who have experienced different business challenges and share how they've implemented some kind of approach. Usually it's a lean approach, and some people don't even know that they're doing it, but they really are. They're assessing what they do. They're looking at the value that they bring to their customers, to their workforce. They're looking at the infrastructure and how they can just be better. And so today I'm flying solo here at the Lean Lounge, and I want to talk about just revisiting these concepts. And I also want to, before we dive in, I want to thank our sponsors, Sigma XL, KPI Fire, and our new sponsor, Smarty.com. And I like to make sure that when we have sponsors, they are all part of helping businesses optimize operations. So Smarty.com, our new sponsor, helps you make sure that your data is valid and that you're getting out of your data what you need. A lot of organizations like insurance organizations and hospitals and Uber, Netflix, all of them look at their data and making sure that they're getting out what they need to satisfy their customers and optimize operations. Sigma XL is your software that helps you execute your agile, your lean, your DMAIC type projects. And then KPI Fire helps you do the project management, making sure you're hitting all those phases along the way, measuring what you're supposed to be doing, and keeping track of how things are moving through your organization. So those three sponsors that we have are more pieces of that puzzle that'll help you optimize your operations out there. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank you for listening. And today I'm going to talk about just really at a higher level, the lean approach and the mindset and the skill set that you need to keep things moving forward or just begin and get an understanding of what you're getting into. Lean is simple. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. It just has to be sustained. So if you've been listening a couple episodes ago, I went to Indiana with a bunch of folks, practitioners and people from all different industries. And we took a tour. And when I got back, I did a podcast on Toyota Material Handling's approach and how they do things. But since I did that, I've had a lot of downloads and thousands of listeners around the planet. And I've also received quite a few emails saying that was great. I love the information, but they're already, light years ahead of my group. So how do I begin? What do I need to do to begin to get that mindset and begin to get my people and my organization and my leadership and my workforce to understand what we're going to do and how we're going to do it? So I'm going to back up a little bit and not so much talk about the application, but just the mindset and understanding what the lean operations methodology is. So you get a better understanding. For those of you still thinking, oh, it's a lot of work. Oh, I need to hire a bunch of people or consultants or whatever to do this. It just depends on where you are and where your group is at. And you can do this in any industry. Lean can be applied in any industry. So I've been doing a little research. I reposted some stuff on LinkedIn from the other day that I thought was really good. Some gentleman, Ivan Carrillo, I hope you said your name correctly, Ivan, because I took some of your notes that I wanted to share with folks who are still not quite sure of what they need to do to begin to move forward. And so I'm just going to take a high-level approach today and really talk about, what is lean? What are the phases and the steps that you go through? And if you go out there on LinkedIn, you'll see this gentleman, Ivan Carrillo. I do not know him, but I really liked what he put together. And so I took some notes to kind of walk through what he called the 5 principles of lean, but they're really just kind of the foundation to set yourself up for success, to get that mindset going in your organization. And then you put the skills on top of that mindset. If you don't have the mindset and the leadership and everybody on board are just pockets, it'll be more difficult to get things going. So if everybody just understands what it is, you can also go to our website, leanrevisions.com, and go to our white belt course. It's 10 videos. They're about 5 minutes long. You can watch those. And it kind of takes you through similar to what I'm going to say here, but without the knowledge checks and the exam at the end. So here you just get to listen in as you're driving or flying or riding on a train or whatever you're doing. Or just watching us here, watching me here on the video here on Apple iPod, or excuse me, Apple Podcast. I have an Apple iPod from many years ago. Sorry. So I'm going to keep it simple too. So some of the emails I got back was, hey, that was great, but just what is lean? How do we get started? And so again, some of this might be, a little review for some of you out there, but lean is really, it's a business approach. And so it's for really maximizing your customer value while minimizing your waste, your cost of operating, empowering your people, engaging their innovative, creative minds, because your people are on the front line. They're fighting the battle for you. They're in the mix. So they know what's wrong. But you have to engage them, because a lot of organizations don't do that. They just tell people what to do. They don't ask them how things are going. So lean is a different approach of how are things going every day. Like I said when I was doing the podcast on the Toyota visit. It's a mindset. It's a visual management. It's everyone's responsibility, in being engaged in this methodology and your approach. So lean, there's 2 things to optimize your operations, lean and Six Sigma. Lean eliminates all of the waste, the 8 waste out there. It helps you identify the cost of poor quality so you can align your projects using your Kaizen events, your 5S, your 5 Whys, all of those simple tools, your fishbone, Ishikawa diagrams for root cause analysis, and basic high-level process mapping to get a visual of what's going on out there. So it's based on Toyota production system of building that culture of always trying to improve every single day, shaving 2 seconds, 1 minute off of operations in different silos. And you do that over a month, over a year, you're going to have improved capacity, reduced cycle times, better quality. Lean is also about stopping the process when things go wrong, not pushing things down there. So that's that mindset you need to get into. When something goes wrong, don't keep making the same mistakes. They just build up as they go through. Stop. It's called andon. Hit the buttons. The Japanese do this all the time. They have it on their lines. And I mentioned that in Toyota when they bring on these young 18, 20, 25-year-old folks, and they tell them when they're onboarding them in the first week, if you see something wrong, hit the button and we'll come running to figure out what it is. That's a mindset. First you have to build that in, and then you get the skills. So Toyota Production Systems, TPS, it's a continuous improvement that's built into the culture. It was started in the 1940s to improve efficiencies and reduce operating costs, like I said. By doing that, you're going to optimize your systems, your people, your processes, your procedures. You're going to standardize operations. You're going to eliminate waste. You're going to build quality in and not try to inspect it in down the line or have your customers feel the pain of bad product you've given them, whether it's a service or a hard part or something, hard product. So it's a mindset. It increases your productivity, and it also engages your people's creativity. You need to learn how to empower your people to make decisions on their own. If you don't feel your people in your organization are smart enough, have been trained well enough, or you're just holding your thumb on everything, then you're not going to be able to change the mindset and the culture in your organization. You must engage your workforce from top to bottom and everywhere else. Okay? Even your suppliers. Engage your customers. Ask them what's working well. They'll be glad to tell you. And so will your people. So lean is not just used in manufacturing. It is used everywhere. I have implemented lean in finance, global supply chains, all over APAC, Asia Pacific, at Microsoft and technology, hospitals, construction industry, food processing, tribal gaming and hospitality. You name it, you can apply it because everything is a process. Everything you do, you can apply lean in your own life on making things more efficient. 5S'ing your kitchen, 5S'ing your garage, your kid's bedroom. Have them do it. So things are back where they need to be when they need them. Even a 5-year-old, set up their systems and processes so things are always efficient and effective. If they're searching for their stuff in the morning, where's my backpack, where's my books, where's my keys, whatever, you can become more efficient. And that makes you more effective out there in the universe and in the world. So these principles, you can scale them down, you can scale them up, and they'll fit in anything that you do. So the main goal of lean is to improve your efficiency and effectiveness by reducing all the non-value added activities out there in your processes. Anything that's not bringing value to the final output or bringing value to the next step. Lean also focuses on balancing and leveling your workforce, not having people doing one thing and one thing only. Your people should be able to move up and down that service or product development line, customer service, whatever, customer facing, back office, on the line making something, supply chain. They should be able to do more than just one thing and do them all well. So when you onboard them, you look at the skills matrix, you get the right people in the right locations and doing the right things that they want to do and love to do, like to do, and are good at. That's going to help you become more efficient in your organization. It also focuses on unnecessary transportation, your rework, missing information, waiting. How many of you are out there always waiting for something? Waiting for a signature, waiting for someone to get back to you, waiting for an okay, waiting. Probably half the time that you spend at your workplace is waiting for something to occur. That is waste. That's the biggest waste in most organizations. How do we look at that? Understand it. And if it's not adding value, then we need to get rid of it. Okay? So the first thing that you need to do, and these are notes from my friend here, my new friend, Ivan. We'll link in together. Ivan Carrillo. Identify the value, you guys. What value are you bringing to your customers? Your customers are internal and external. So your output needs to be nothing but value added to them. From the first input, from that phone call, from the quote, to the output of the finished job, or whatever it is you're doing, the coffee order, until it's done in line at the end of the counter, your delivery, your supply chain from beginning to end, any of those kind of things. Where are you adding value? You need to identify that value, and you need to define it. What are you doing along the way that is adding value? This step here adds this amount of value to this output or to my next step in the process. If it's creating problems, if it's a constraint, if it's rework, it's not adding value. It's adding problems and cost and waste. And it builds up throughout the system. So you need to be able to, whether it's a product or service, and ask your customers because they will tell you what they want and if you're meeting those needs. Then you can look at your system, and if you have 100 steps to do something and only 30 of them are really adding value to the output, then get rid of the rest of it. Streamline them, combine them, eliminate them. Maybe even some of those can be automated, offshored or something. I don't know, depending on what you're doing. And not always offshored overseas, but third party close by or whatever. It's good to have your suppliers close by, so that way you can work together and partner together. So how do you add value together? I tell this in construction organizations all the time. Every time there's a new construction project, the whole team is brand new. Everyone's in their silo. They don't know how they work together and adding value to the final product, the building, the sidewalk, whatever that project is, the high rise, the house. That team has not been cohesive and put together for very long, so they don't know how to work together. So you need to look at each other on day one and go, I am the X, I am this, I am that. How do we work together and add value as a whole, as a team? You might have 10 different companies part of a construction project that don't know each other very well. Their team members don't know each other well. How on day one do you come together and add value? 90% of you out there listening have never done that. Are having your stand-up meetings, whether you're in construction or in a hospital or whatever. How are you adding value? How did you add value yesterday? And how can you add value better today? And you need to measure it. Value is also a loss. If you understand where your cost of poor quality is, you can understand where you're losing revenue, not adding value, and turn that around. And that can help you with your revenue generation and your resource allocation. So you need to map out that system and see where you're adding value. I know some of you have done process mapping, you've done, swim lane mapping, those kind of things, but that's where you really have to look at your value stream. I've done some projects where we've done a swim lane map. We look at the 10 different silos and the 160 steps, and we scratch our head. Everyone's in a silo. Problems just grow as they go throughout. They multiply, rework, all kinds of problems, communication breakdowns. People are pointing fingers at each other, and the customer suffers because they don't get what they need when they need it, is what they paid for. So you're going to go elsewhere. So you need to really look at how are you operating? A simple map that tells you every single step along the way. How long does it take you? Is it a rework? What is it costing you? Where are you catching defects? And how do you begin to tighten that up in that value stream? You might do something that takes you 2 weeks from end to end, but your actual touch time, value added time, could be 2 hours. Trust me, I've done that before with organizations. We've looked at what is the touch time, what is the total lead time, and you're at 3%. You're at 4%. Process cycle efficiency. That's what that stuff's called. So once you understand that, you're going to get to identify where you're adding value and where you're not. Over time, we put things and complexities on top of things because we think it adds value, but this adds more complexity, adds more checks, adds more stuff for people to do, and that's an opportunity for something to go wrong. That's rework. That's a cost to the business. That's non-value added. So do a value stream map. You can Google that. You can call us. There's plenty of consultants out there who know how to do that. And put your timeline. How many steps? How long does it take you? Which steps along the way are adding value? What's your rework loops? Where are your delays? Where are you finding quality problems? Are you stopping the line where they happen and fixing them? Or are you just pushing them through? We see it every day on the news. Something catastrophic. Sorry. Something catastrophic happens. And then that's your reputation. That's your rework. That's your loss of customers. And the market value. So it builds when you don't work on this and catch it up front there. So map out that value stream. If you don't know how to do it, give us a call here at Lean Revisions. And then create an optimal flow. You might see, when I ask people to map out the process, we get everyone from the system and there's 20 people. And they don't even understand what that system is and what the flow should look like. And they're only doing their little piece. And then they don't know how it integrates with everyone else. I did a session at a hospital once with about 50 doctors, surgeons, technicians, nurses. And we did this huge swim lane map of the patient, how they went through the system. When they came in, where they went, how they were transported, all the way until they were up in the units, room turnovers, all of those kind of things. And I was absolutely shocked. I'm not going to say the name, but I was absolutely shocked when we were mapping the flow of the patient through the system. They only did their part of their job and their role. They did not focus on the customer or the patient experience throughout that system. When they all got done mapping at the end of the day and we started reporting out and looking at everything, my question to everybody was, where's the patient? And they all looked at each other. The phlebotomist went, what do you mean, where's the patient? I'm like, when do you engage? Well, I'm the phlebotomist. I walk in, draw blood, do this, take it to the lab, give the report to the docs, and they do their thing. But what's the patient experiencing? They're experiencing a wait time, and lots of it. That's non-value added to the patient. Where are they in the system? Where's the information? How are they being engaged through this process? You know, they're in the hospital. They're scared. Their family wants to understand what's going on. How is that being reported back, communicated back? Those simple things there are all about the value and the flow that you're bringing to your customer. Yes, a patient is a customer. That's a mindset. It's a mindset. Some of you doctors out there are thinking, what do you mean the patient's the customer? Yeah, the patient is the customer. Some of you have gotten it, and some of you, can do a little better at it. And once you do that, you do things only when they're needed. When the customer is demanding that and needs that. So those of you in manufacturing and food prep and stuff like that, we're doing batch production. Things are made and put on the shelf. That's holding costs, inventory, spoilage, expirations, all of those kind of things. When you just shove stuff through. When you create value and only do what's needed, when it's needed, where it's needed, and done correctly by everyone who can do it and is trained and onboarded correctly, you create a pull system of flow. Like a grocery store. The milk comes in, goes in the rack, customer gets it, and it goes out. You're not holding it, it's not spoiling. That's what you want to look at. That's what Toyota Production Systems is all about. They looked at our grocery store systems back in the 40s and said, how can we apply this to manufacturing? Only doing what I need to do that's adding value, putting everything where it needs to be, on the right space at the right time, visual management. So things come in, they're not held, and they're gone. Supply chain is coming and going every day, depending on the produce or whatever. That's what you want to do. Adding that value, creating that flow, that's sustainable, consistent, and predictable. That's part of what's SPC. That's a little more advanced for this podcast, but when you can predict what's going to happen every single day, then you have a good flow. When you know you're hitting the target and the span of variation is consistent and it's sustained, then you have good flow. You created a good flow. And that's what you want to do. Okay, so those are some concepts. You can Google these. You've heard about pull system. That's a lot of things in manufacturing I'm not going to get into, but I hope I'm answering some of the questions and the emails that I got from some of you saying, the application was cool, but explain a little more high level on what I need to do to get things started. And so those 4 steps there can get you started. Identifying your value. What is your process? Who can do what? Balancing your workflow. Creating that flow. Doing single piece flow. At Toyota, when I mentioned, they were doing a different type of a truck one after the other. They weren't doing changeover. They weren't doing prep. They weren't doing setup. Their system was set up. They could make a hybrid. They could make a combustion engine, different sizes, different models, different requirements, all in the same line without having to stop the line and change things over. It was flowing. They knew their tack time. Everybody was able to balance and level. They communicated all day long with visual management. That's down the line. First, you have to get that mindset. And it's part of the way you operate. It's part of the business. It's the way you do things. And then you just seek perfection. Continuously improve. Every single day, scan what's going on out there. Talk to your people. Have those meetings, 5 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the morning, whatever. See what worked well yesterday, what you need to improve upon today. Talk to your people, engage them. Shaving, if you have 100 people in there, each one of them shaves off 5 seconds a day. That adds value and eliminated some waste. You do that every day. Just think of your output you could have in a week. Your overtime gone down, quality gone up, workforce happier, not so stressed, not putting strain on your people and machines and your suppliers, and then meeting your customers' needs and adding value, having a better product. So you're always seeking to perfect. measure, monitor, use data to help you make sure you're staying on track and meeting needs. And that way you're also flexible to market changes. Your customers are fickle. You might have competition who comes up with something completely different, changes the paradigm of your whole organization, your whole industry. If you're not ready for that, you're left behind. Kmart just closed its last store just the other day, if you guys have been watching any of the news or anything. Kmart was a staple. Where did Sears go? Where did Toys R Us go? You know, the list goes on and on. I could age myself. Where did Xerox go? Where did Zenith TVs go? Those of you who know what that is, you know how old we are and how long we've been around. But always seek perfection. The world is changing and more information, AI, innovation, automation. It's not all of it is good all the time. Make sure it doesn't stagnate you from expanding and being flexible. Some things can be automated. Make sure your data is valid and telling you what you need to do to meet those KPIs. And change that data if you need to. What you did 10 years ago might not be valid today. You're still operating with those concepts, with that mindset. You're making money, but your customers are going elsewhere. Your competition is doing things differently because they've engaged their people and they support their people and they're innovative and they're asking them how to do better. So keep those things in mind. So hopefully that takes it down a little bit further into the mindset that you need to have as a leader, current or future, or someone in the middle of chaos right now who wants to get out of it. These are the kind of things you need to think of, you know, and you can map your system. You don't have to lock yourself in a room all day with all 20 of you, you know, go in there at lunch, go in there at break, come in a few minutes early, do it on your drive home, on your phone, just talk about the steps, record yourself, you know, as you're driving home. These are the things I did today. How much time did I wait? This took me 3 hours to do this thing, and I really only did about 10 minutes worth of adding value. What was the rest of that stuff I was doing? I was waiting. I was asking questions. I was trying to get clarification. I was looking for stuff. I couldn't find the tools. That's not adding value. You know, record yourself on the way home, on your phone. Yeah, those kind of things. All right, so I hope that was a little helpful to help you understand that, you know, it's not that difficult to implement lean. You just have to be ready and mindful of what you need to do. There's lots of information out there. You go to our website at leanrevisions.com, contact at leanrevisions. Give us a shout out if you want to shoot us an email. Hope this was a little more helpful for those of you who shot me emails. I'm thankful for you guys downloading so many of that episode. All over the planet. I had people in France and Egypt and New Zealand, all over US and Canada, Mexico, India. So I'm glad you guys are listening. And the premise of the program here is to help transfer knowledge, give some nuggets of knowledge. And I'm glad that was a good episode. And that's what made me want to do this just kind of at a high level. For those of you still not quite understanding or still on the fence or thinking it's too complicated to do, it's not. It's built into the way you do business. And if you look at the big companies like Toyota and Amazon, Starbucks, Capital One, the list goes on and on, Ford, you know, this is how they do things. And this is why they're successful, because they have that mindset of continuously seeking perfection. When you do that, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. So I hope that was helpful today. Hope that was a few nuggets of knowledge for you to take away from the Lean Lounge. My name's Jeff Gray. Again, I want to thank our sponsors, Sigma XL, KPI Fire, and Smarty.com. And if you want to be a sponsor, contact at leanrevisions.com. Thanks for listening on over Apple Podcast. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. I was playing with my iPod as I was traveling. Maybe that's why. It's an old one. Spotify, iHeart, SiriusXM, you name it. We're all over the place. That's why we're getting a bigger global reach. So I'm really thankful for that too. And reach out if you need some help at leanrevisions.com. Jeff Gray for the Lean Lounge. Talk to you next time.
Welcome to KPI Fire, strategy execution software. Align strategy, drive execution, engage people. Here's how it works. First, you create a dashboard of strategic goals and the key metrics that demonstrate success. Then projects are created that cascade under those strategic goals. The progress of those projects and the movement of their metrics roll up into the strategic goals they belong to. With KPI Fire, your strategic progress becomes tangible, measurable, and at your fingertips. KPI Fire also allows you to capture your employees' best ideas for continuous improvement and reward those contributions. From top to bottom, your organization can clearly see strategy, and everyone feels that they have a say and a stake in the success of that strategy. It means that management can clearly prove hard and soft savings, and that they aren't wasting time rolling up reports. And it means that every employee can have simple, real-time visibility on projects and strategy progress. And what that translates to is alignment, strategy becoming reality, and igniting success. KPI Fire is a simple, intuitive interface. It's the right tool for any improvement approach and any size team. And it's easy. It requires no download or IT support and is at your fingertips on any device. Instant visibility to your business. Align strategy, drive execution, engage people.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Gray from the Lean Lounge, brought to you by Lean Revisions. I want to thank you for watching our show, listening to our show all over Apple and Spotify and iHeart and SiriusXM. And I want to especially thank one of our sponsors, Sigma XL. Now, if you haven't heard of Sigma XL, Sigma XL is an Excel plugin to help you execute all of your Lean, your Six Sigma, your Agile, your PDCA, and really any other kind of process improvement approach that you're using out there in your organizations and in your businesses. Sigma XL has been around since the late 90s. I started using Sigma XL in the early 2000s, so date myself a little bit, for about 20 years. And over those 20 years, they have expanded and grown into an awesome software that'll help you execute your Lean Six Sigma projects out there. It's an Excel plugin. They have over 100,000 users. They're in over 180 countries around the planet, so they must be doing something right. And it's a very simple software that you can use. You can download off their site, plug it into your Excel. It'll help you do your charters. It'll help you do all of your statistical analysis, your hypothesis testing, your design, your Monte Carlos, your SPC. They have lots of templates for QFDs, for your root cause analysis. There's C&E matrix for your solution selection and root cause analysis. Everything you need to do to successfully execute a Lean project. So visit our friends at Sigma XL and download their software. Tell them Jeff from the Lean Lounge sent you, Jeff from Lean Revisions. I want to thank you for following along with us on our podcast and keep listening. I hope you are enjoying the variety of practitioners and authors and real life folks who are just executing projects and sharing some nuggets of knowledge along the way. So visit our friends at Sigma XL and download their software and continue watching the Lean Lounge. I'm your host, Jeff Gray. See you soon.
For more information on today's show or to become a sponsor, visit leanrevisions.com. Join the virtual studio audience by emailing podcast@leanrevisions.com for tickets. Follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. This podcast is hosted by Jeff Gray, produced and edited by Make Your Day Richer.